real. You see, it's all very clear to me now. The whole thing. It's wonderful.
Fucking hey, man. Glad to see you guys. You guys are fucking dangerous. Look at this guy. He's got respect for doing. There's 4 million people coming in. It's only a matter of time. Justice is coming.
What is the cost of lies? It's not that we'll mistake them for the truth. The real danger is that if we hear enough lies, then we no longer recognize the truth at all.
Why would I have anything to say to you? All you do is lie.
What else is left but to abandon even the hope of truth and content ourselves instead with stories?
It's the role of good journalism to take on powerful abuses. And when powerful abuses are taken on, there is always a back reaction.
Take an animal virus and you increase its transmissibility to humans. Right. You're saying that's not gain of function?
That is correct. And Senator Paul, you do not know what you are talking about, quite frankly. And I want to say that officially.
When you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
About is the reality of goodness, not the perception of it. And what I see all over the place is people who care about looking good while doing evil. Fuck them. Okay?
Welcome back, Habbening Bros, to another Thursday night of Habbening TV. I hope you are all well. It's been a bit of a slow few days. You know, the Labour Party is settling into power. So tonight we will be covering, the deep state, the UK deep state, the power behind the throne, the new set of gnomish underlings of the Starmer government. And we will be examining the question, which will also be the subject of tonight's Empire of Lies. Which faction will win in UK Labour? The globalists, represented in the red corner by the Dark Lord, Tony Blair himself, or in the other corner, no wait, really the Fabians would probably be the red corner, the Blairites would be the blue corner or something. Basically, it's the globalists versus the commies, you know, usually pretty close, but they have very different vision for what they want from the UK. And there is sort of a low-key battle going on in the Labour Party at the moment to see which faction will dominate. At the same time that the new underlings around Starmer have been underlinging their way in, sort of, getting their sort of influence ready, and trying to be like, how about that social justice and all that kind of other stuff. The Blairites have also massively infiltrated the Labour Party. Tony Blair, the Dark Lord himself, is back, bros. He's been doing like his, conference for the future or whatever it was called, where he's, basically sort of trying to emulate Klaus Schwab, but doing a much better job of it because, Blair actually has like media training and stuff like that, and generally sort of putting himself out there and sort of trying to backseat drive the Labour Party, as it were. So that's the first two stories for tonight. And thirdly, of course, the NATO conference, the 75th anniversary of NATO, the thing that keeps us safe by starting all of those wars that you didn't really know that you needed. But, trust me, you absolutely needed them. Look, if we hadn't gone into Libya and Iraq and Afghanistan, mate, we wouldn't even have a democracy. I mean, do we even have a democracy now? I guess, technically, I guess it's a democracy, but it would be even less of a democracy if we did not engage in all those foreign wars of choice. I'm sorry, I misspoke. Not wars of choice. Us going into Iraq, Libya, and Afghanistan, Serbia were absolute. I mean, look, if we hadn't taken out the Taliban, they would have been rowing across the English Channel. I've been reliably informed that there's a lot of Afghanistanis coming across the English Channel. So I don't know. Look, just shut up. Okay, right? NATO keeps us safe. I know they do because NATO gave me an extremely large check and threatened to drone strike me if I didn't say so. Because they're a defensive alliance and they're full of peace. It's the post-World War II order, the Boomer Truth regime. They are essentially the boot on the foot of the angry boomer, keeping us all in line, as it were. So yes, that will be sort of the final story. Not much else really has been happening. Biden, of course, is still under sustained media assault, with sort of, half of the sort of Democratic Party represented, the rumor mill says, by Clinton and Obama, trying to force him out. I predicted this. Yes, I certainly did. Essentially, that if Biden didn't drop out, then the media would just keep covering it. They would start saying, look, Joe, obviously you're an awesome dude and you've done so much for the country and, we love you. I think the greatest expression of that was, oh my God, what's that horrible late night funny talk show guy, the one that did all the vaccine things, Stephen Colbert, did a thing where he was like, look, tenacity is a virtue, Mr. President. But you know what else is a virtue? Self-sacrifice. I mean, I would play the clip, but it'll get me struck on YouTube. They're very, very, annoying about that. As soon as you play anything from Late Night Funny Man, even if it's totally commenting on the, actual political situation, they're like, no, bad. You must watch Late Night Funny Man on Late Night Funny Man's channel, despite the fact that it's quite obvious that they are shaping the narrative environment. Late Night Funny Man, of course, is sort of the interfacing mechanism between the political class and the unaware normies. So, look, I was right about this. They're just going to keep banging on about it. However, Biden is fighting back, bros. At the NATO conference, he was looking quite chipper. Either they swapped in his double or gave him a, particularly large dose of happy pills. I can't really say which, but he's gonna stick in there. So it's this is gonna drag on for a while, basically. Anyway, that's basically the opening monologue. You know what's going on. Let's see who we got in the chat. Excuse me. In the Rumble chat. Sadie Sapiente, J Chiva Loophole, Fox39 Forever, Livia Drusilla, good to see you, Livia. Yes, the Eunuch, I, of course, will be on Empire of Lies at 11 p.m. tonight. As I was saying, the Fabians versus the Blairites. Let's see, anybody else? I think that's everyone. Oh, Wyatt's Torch. Wait, did I see Wyatt's Torch? Yes. Good to see you too, man. In the Odyssey chat, Tasia is the only one who seems to have turned up. That's fine. Good to see you, Tasia. And in YouTube, we have Jimmy Robinson, Streaky Bacon. I think that's it. Good to see you, chaps. Thanks for coming along. Right. So let's get on to the first. Oh, no, of course, the meme. Look at all of these useless rulers. Kind of speaks for itself, really. Thank you to Sadie Sapiente for sending me this. I quite like it. Right, let's get on with it. So, who are the goblins behind the head goblin that is Keir Starmer? You thought that Starmer was a commie, but actually it looks like he may be a globalist. What's the difference? Well, let's see. I mean, basically sort of summed up. The commies believe in taxing everybody to hell and giving all the money to the poor, price controls, and all that kind of other stuff. The Blairites, the globalists, believe in sort of expanding, foreign direct investment and lifting up wages and creating more jobs and using that to get out of poverty, which is, a strategy that might actually work. However, some of the people in Keir Starmer's, not cabinet, but orbit. Often, the real power behind the throne is the person that controls access to the Prime Minister. And with all indications being that Starmer plans to run his cabinet the way that Blair ran his cabinet, this was known as the sofa cabinet. So basically, right, decisions got made by like Blair and, say 3 or 4 other people sitting on sofas in his office, and they then told the cabinet what the decision was. Now, you might say to yourself, well, that sounds extremely elitist. Well, maybe you should shut the hell up and not think too much about it. So these are the people who are basically around Blair, I keep getting Blair and Starmer mixed up, around Keir Starmer at the moment, and sort of like controlling access and helping him do his stuff. Of course, there's Rachel Reeves. She's part of the cabinet. Angela Rayner, Tony Blair, of course. Peter Mandelson, who was one of the key architects of New Labour. He's back, bros. Yes, the number of Blairites that are surrounding Keir Starmer cannot be overstated. And there is about to be, or already is, a struggle at the heart of the Labour Party for which vision is going to predominate. I am putting my money on the Blairites. I don't think the Fabians can win this one, bros. And for all of you who are familiar with the history of the Fabian Society and saying, but my rich backers of the Fabian Society, I would reply to you that all those rich backers have now moved on to globalism. And they sort of think of Fabianism as a sort of like old and outdated ideology. Now, this is the guy that I want to talk a little bit more about. Mr. Morgan McSweeney. The eternal Irish. In opposition, Morgan McSweeney was Labour's campaign director. Perhaps the most... there's no picture of McSweeney. Perhaps the most enigmatic figure at the centre of Starmer's world. Starmer's like, Morgan, you're the centre of my world. I got to figure out how to do a good Keir Starmer impression. Maybe if I just imagine myself as like paint drying or something like that. And also the most crucial. After working in local government, he joined Labour Together, a think tank and campaign group dedicated to winning the party back from Corbyn and the hard left. Well, actually, apparently, Labour Together was launched as this idea of the coming together of the Labour Party and, making a dialogue and bridging differences. But that was all crap. Its real reason was to drive out the Corbynites. McSweeney worked on Starmer's 2020 Labour leadership campaign after deciding he was the best placed candidate to steer the party into a more electable position. He was right. So the implication is that it was actually McSweeney that picked Starmer for this role based on the idea that he was saleable to the public. McSweeney is widely credited with driving Labour's winning strategy through a combination of close attention to data and a conviction that the party needed above all to win back the disenchanted and the alienated, shifting back towards the centre ground. An Irishman married to one of Labour's new Scottish MPs, Imogen Walker, he's expected to play a central role in shaping the narrative of Starmer's nascent government and targeting victory at the next election, if he lasts that long. His importance to the entire Starmer project is impossible to overstate. And apparently, McSweeney is not too fond of Tony Blair. He thinks that Blair is a dinosaur, a relic of a previous age. Now, of course, if you swing at the Dark Lord, you best not miss, son, because the Dark Lord's going to come after you, and he has many, 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 many millions and millions of little helpers. Yeah, seriously, the Tony Blair Institute is huge. It's got like 330 employees in the UK, which for a think tank is huge. The average number of employees of I think the think tank, biggest think tank underneath is like 30, 800 employees all over the world. Tony Blair Institute, of course, was formed by the merging of a whole bunch of different charities into one sort of, blob conglomerate or a blobulent, yes. That is absolutely the technical word for it. And this is from the Mail. Meet the second most powerful man in Britain. He cut his political teeth purging extremists on both the left and the right, and now Starmer's friend and enforcer is at the heart of number 10. So there we go. This is Mr. McSweeney. He looks like a very, very balanced individual. I'm sure the Daily Mail picked like a bad picture, but still it's pretty funny. Ruthless and calculating, McSweeney now has significant control over messaging and policy. Though he rarely credits it publicly, Starmer has McSweeney to thank more than anyone for making it into Downing Street. Yet many Labour MPs have probably never even met McSweeney, who at party conferences shuns the bars and spends most of his time in the leader's hotel suite. Saucy. Now, he's a workaholic, and he's basically seems to think, rightly or wrongly, that he made Starmer, right? So he's not gonna take any malarkey from Tony Blair and the Tony Blair Institute. After all, who voted for you? Well, don't you understand? We live in a democracy, which means that there is an entire layer of both civil service and global government that you don't get to vote for. And thank God that it is that way. Can you imagine if people had to vote for global government? The wrong people might get in. And then how are we supposed to have the benefits of AI and digital ID? Oh, it wouldn't do. Imagine living in a world without digital ID. Mate. How would I even know how would the government know my social credit score? Obviously, I don't need to know it, because, why would I? But, the government, they need to know everything, right? So there's also a bit of noise between McSweeney and Sue Gray. I will cover Sue Gray in a bit as well. She was the guy. She was the girl, the person who basically brought down Boris Johnson. Interestingly enough, long-time civil servant, who then sort of took over the investigation on Partygate, brought down Boris Johnson, and then sort of immediately went to work for the Labour Party. Also allegations that she may have been a spy in Northern Ireland. Certainly has the sniff of the glowy about it to me, but, proper pictures. Good to see you, sir. Right. So this is just more about Sweeney. He saw himself as a modern-day witch-finder general, except it wasn't witches in the ducking chair, but extremists from the left and right. Apparently, his early job was taking out the BNP. He managed to get them to lose all the council seats. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, who is this guy? How has he managed to have so much influence and cancel so many people? Well, it turns out that while he was the director of Labour Together in 2017, he started working with Hope Not Hate and set up the Centre for Countering Digital Hate. Now, if you are aware of the Centre for Countering Digital Hate, you will maybe remember that Elon Musk is actually sued them. I think the suit was unsuccessful. Centre for Countering Digital Hate basically set up in DC and London with the aim of stopping online hate speech and disinformation. Yes, they were very, very big during the COVID years and when Musk took over Twitter. They were also a member of the Stop Hate for Profit thing, which was basically the sort of coalition of advertisers that tried to bring down Twitter after Musk bought it. So this guy has a long sort of history of going after people with the wrong opinions, taking them off social media, trying to get them defunded, trying to defund various platforms because they are neo-Nazis or anti-vaccine advocates. Awesome. Apparently, he's very, very salty about anything related to George Soros and massively taking down anything that referenced the National Institute of Health funding the Wuhan Institute of Virology. He's also done campaigns against George Galloway, Katie Hopkins, one against David Icke, of course, because of the lockdowns. This guy is a premier glowy. He's a glow king, a glow captain. You know what I mean? A fluorescent fanboy, we might say, basically, right? Jimmy Wilson, hate not cope. Yes, quite indeed. But the question is McSweeney on board with the Tony Blair vision, because it's entirely possible that he is part of the Fabian edge of the Labour Party, although it doesn't really say like much about this guy's politics, merely that he, seems to revel in the exercise of power and the cancelling of his political opponents. But the fact that he's throwing shade at Tony Blair would seem to suggest that he does not share Blair's liberal vision, basically. So, I don't know. Let's see, what else have we got? I also just wanted to point out, while I was doing a bit of research on the Centre for Countering Digital Hate, I came across this Wikipedia article about internet censorship in the United Kingdom. Captain Crisp, he's Irish, apparently. The goddamn Irish. So I was not aware of just how incredibly extensive internet censorship is in the UK, but it is bloody huge. There are entire blacklists that are blocked by every single ISP, every single mobile provider, and you can't see what's on the list. There have been concerns that this may have been used, to silence political opponents, but since you can't see the list, well, nobody can tell. Also, I didn't know this, but BT introduced a thing called Clean Feed. And Clean Feed basically will edit traffic in real time to make sure that you can't access any websites that they don't want you to see. Everybody is using it now. 95% of ISPs. In February 2009, the government said it was looking for ways to cover the final 5%. So it's probably basically everybody. It's weird. Oh my God, man. There's so much internet censorship in the UK. It's insane. Really, really insane. So, thanks to the Centre for Countering Digital Hate. Now, the McSweeney Project. Starmer's campaign director has gone to war on Blairism. Well, this guy clearly thinks that he's big enough to take on the Dark Lord. I have my doubts, on the other hand. With a sort of massive cancel engine behind him. I mean, what, you going to try and cancel the Dark Lord? Mate. Or is he going to try and cancel some of the people around the Dark Lord? Is he going to try and attack people at the Tony Blair Institute? I mean, I'm just saying, bros. This could be a very, very dangerous tactic, right? Now, this is from Unheard. The McSweeney Project is not a restoration of Blairism, but a rejection of it. Let me see. Talking about Corbyn. No. What does he actually believe? Right? This is the thing I can't quite get my finger on. Maybe this is one of those guys who doesn't believe anything. He just wants pure power. So Blair came up with yes. What does this guy believe? Oh my God, this is such a wordy article. No. Wait, is this it? Okay. So McSweeney did a 72-page political movement planning document calling for the creation of a new party that was being shared with Labour donors in 2018. In its executive summary, the anonymous author declares that Britain is stuck. The promise of the next generation will be better off than their parents is broken. Inequality is tearing the country apart. Housing is too expensive. Earnings are static. And the quality of work is too poor for too many. The world is changing fast and we're retreating from it. Now, look, we all know this, right? The question is, right, what are you going to do about it? The Fabians, on the one hand, believe that, well, what we need to do is we need to, tax the hell out of the rich because they don't understand capital flight and then give all that money to the poor. Where the Blairites, as I said, believe, well, we should attract foreign direct investment and build up jobs and all this kind of other stuff. And I think the Blairites have a better job of this. Hayes Reviews, good to see you, man. And Total Blackout Painting, good to see you as well. In the Odyssey chat, Machine for Baked Beans and Jamil the Wicked, good to see you guys. And is there anyone else in the Rumble chat? Oh no, I did the Rumble chat. Right. Sorry about that. So yes, the old parties can't face the future because they have run out of answers. Yes. Right. Okay, so this wasn't McSweeney. McSweeney seems to fancy himself as a bit of a revolutionary. In every century in Britain, a new force in politics has emerged as a result of big shifts in society. And these shifts create new coalitions upon which politics is built. Well, this is a very, very, badly written article. Maybe I shouldn't talk. Okay, so McSweeney doesn't support it. What does he believe in? Oh my God. This is very... Oh, look how long this thing... Right, okay, I'm not reading all of this. Right, so we don't know. We don't know what McSweeney believes in, just that he doesn't like the Blairites. I'm going to assume, basically, that he is sort of the Fabian type until someone comes up and tells me what the hell he actually believes in. Of course, another person quite close to Keir Starmer is Sue Gray, the fixer. Yes, when Starmer, needs to find something illegal, it's Sue Gray he goes to, right? When he needs some of that cocaine-laced vodka. Actually, I can't imagine Starmer doing drugs, actually. He seems a bit too boring. A bit too boring. Starmer's chief of staff is a woman of apparent contradictions. She joined Labour last year after more than 40 years working her way to the top of the politically neutral civil service. She is notoriously hard-nosed, yet also reportedly a great deal of fun. I looked at this article. It says nothing about her being a great deal of fun. She basically is just very, very hard-nosed. Her task has been to make Labour a far more disciplined, tightly focused operation, earning her both diehard fans and enemies in the process. Now, Sue Gray is a lifelong civil servant who, as I said, brought down Boris Johnson and then defected to the Labour Party. She's quite old, so this is likely to be her last job. In the 1980s, she ran a pub on a border town in Northern Ireland during the Troubles, and it has been speculated that she was a spy, although she denied it. Well, I mean, of course you would. You're not going to come out and say, oh yeah, actually, I am a spy. She's been in the civil service and she is basically a deep state operative at this point, right? She's been in the civil service for 40 years, probably worked in every single part of the civil service. Northern Ireland, Cabinet Office, Partygate, brought down Boris Johnson, switched to Labour, and is now Starmer's sort of enforcement. Now, Tony Blair, of course, is back. He's large and in charge. The energy of the Dark Lord cannot be stopped. Every single time someone comes into power, Blair is there sort of leaning over their shoulder being like, what's. Actually, no, he hasn't been whispering. He has been extremely vocal. So this started with this article that came out on Saturday. Literally just immediately after the election. Tony Blair, my advice to Keir Starmer. And he's basically saying that, you got to listen to reform. You've got to control immigration. You should definitely not lean into the woke stuff. The woke is poison. I mean, okay, fair enough. He's absolutely correct. Starmer has a mandate. It is for change. But what type of change exactly? Well, I mean, that's basically what I was saying. Old Saucy. Good to see you, sir. What Liberal Democrats want, other than good things, is frequently a bit of a mystery. Okay, that's pretty funny. So he's also saying, Blair, that the political centre of gravity is moving to the right, and that Labour has to capture this energy rather than moving to the left. And of course, he started the whole Tony Blair Institute Future of Britain conference, of which we have some videos. Now, I mean, there's a couple of interesting things. The hardest part of coming into government is recognizing that the skill set that brought you to government is not the same as the skill set you need to stay there. This is true. Winning power is all about being the great persuader. I'm not sure Starmer was the great persuader, honestly. Exercising power is all about being the great chief executive. And of course, Blair can help you with these problems. That's what the Tony Blair Institute does. So, he's basically saying you've got to kickstart economic growth. reform the planning system, and of course his favorite thing, which we'll be hearing much more of in the video clips, is AI and digital ID. Blair is all about the digital society, digital governance, digital ID, using AI to run government. It sounds bloody horrible, honestly. I mean, I don't know. I don't know. How bad's it going to be? Well, I guess we're going to find out, aren't we? You know, because they're going to do it. Right. Oh, and he's also very, very big on the idea of using AI in healthcare, which, in case you were not aware, would mean essentially linking AI to everybody's digital NHS record and then using them to mine for data to give to pharmaceutical companies to help them make new drugs, which, you know, could be good, could be bad, right? It's you know, doesn't really talk about immigration much. Oh no, here he does. We need a plan to control immigration. If we don't have rules, we get prejudices. In office, I believe the best solution was a system of identity, so we know precisely who has a right to be here. With, again, technology, we should move as the world is moving to digital ID. If not, new border controls will have to be highly effective. We need a tough new approach to law and order. You know what would help with that? Digital ID and facial recognition. The digital society, bros. I mean, like, he's fine, right? Like, you know, no policeman is going to come up to Tony Blair and be like, oi, come with me, Tony, right? He's you know, he's basically got functional immunity, so he'll be fine, right? It's just, you know, the rest of the, you know, the people who don't matter, you know, who will be caught up in all of that. Right. What else have we got? So he's immediately counter-signaling the Labour government, right? Saying that taxes are going to go up. This is basically what the Conservatives were saying. So this is a very, very bad look, right? The government's like scarcely gotten in, and he's already saying that taxes are going to have to go up. Now, Blair basically, as I said, came out and was like, hey, what we need is digital ID, and the UK government hit back and said, no, we're not going to do ID cards. But, you know, digital ID, yeah, we'll probably be doing that, right? Because, of course, the big point is not whether there's a huge centralized database that has, like, every single part of your identity on it, but whether you have, like, a little card, right? And this is sort of like the way it works. People are like, oh, you know, I don't want to have to carry the card. Yeah, well, you know, if you want to do anything like rent a house or rent a car or, you know, apply for a job, you already basically need to, like, you know, use digital ID now anyway. So it's, you know, it's a fait accompli. So, asked whether he would support Blair's calls for introducing ID cards as a solution to unchecked immigration. Blair didn't say ID cards, he said digital ID. Very, very different thing. The Business Secretary, Jonathan Reynolds, told Sky News that the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, would look at, quote, all sources of advice. The catch is that, oh yeah, he says this. He didn't call for ID cards, but digital identity. Thus, less than 2 hours later, Reynolds did an apparent U-turn on the issue. We can rule that out. It's not something that's part of our plan. So, is it going to be digital ID or isn't it? You know? Do they even know? They're probably like waiting to have a unified position on this, basically, right? Once again, Labor's like, no. Look, we don't need digital ID. Sorry, the Labor government's like, we don't need digital ID to control immigration. We're going to go after the gangs. Now, I don't think this is going to work, to be perfectly honest. But if it doesn't work, then they'll be in a much better position to say, well, look, you know, we tried to smash the smuggling gangs, but it didn't work. How about that digital ID, though, right? Have you thought about digital ID? It'll be so convenient, bros, right? It'll be so convenient. And honestly, I wouldn't have so much of a problem with it if, you know, there weren't things like the Equalities Act and, you know, the Malicious Communications Act and all these kinds of other things that can, like, totally screw you over just for speech. If the UK had an actual sort of ironclad constitution that was like the government can't use this kind of like stuff to control your speech, I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it. But, you know, we don't, so I do. So they tried this before, by the way. Blair tried to get ID cards in before, but it didn't go anywhere. The English, it seems, have a big resistance to this. And this was back in, here we go. Lord Blunkett, of course, the blind man of Labour. ID cards are inevitable to track immigration. Man, you know, it's a good thing I'm not some kind of conspiracy theorist, because if I was, I might think to myself that mass immigration was done deliberately in order to bring in digital ID or something. And obviously, government never has any kind of long-term plans. Nobody has any kind of long-term plans. Everything is completely short-term, bros. Former Home Secretary said that the growth of digital records across all aspects of people's lives meant that government would have to streamline them into a single ID. They're going to have to. There's no other way around it, bros. ID cards were introduced by Lord Blunkett after the 9/11 terror attacks, but were scrapped when the Conservatives defeated Labor in 2010, when only 15,000 had been issued. God, I wonder how many billions they wasted on that. Bloody hell. And although for the moment Labor has said, they're not going to do it, watch this space. Now, of course, Tony Blair was starting the Future of Britain conference a couple of days ago. I tried to watch the full-length episodes of some of these, but honestly, it was boring as hell. So I'm going to do that classic thing where I'm going to play you a bunch of Twitter clips, and I get a chance to drink some tea and have a vape. This is Blair's opening statement. Enjoy, bros.
We are here unleashing a new future for both the private sector and what we call a reimagined state. This revolution, it will change everything if we embrace it in a spirit of innovation, not introspection. The opportunities are huge. The risks are huge. The ability to navigate its dangers and embrace its hopes will determine the future of Britain.
Oh man, it's so funky. Whenever they put that kind of a beat under anything, I'm always 120% more receptive to whatever horrible bullshit idea they're pushing, man. That's some great picky there. Wait a second. That was meant to go later. Okay, so Blair, sorry, just delaying the conference. Blair was basically on an interview on Newsnight a couple of days ago. I can't get the full thing because I'm not paying the BBC, so all I've got are Twitter clips, bros. I can't watch the whole thing. But this is Blair being asked by a Karen, essentially. What is wokeism? What even is it? You know what I mean? Does it even really exist, right? Is communism even a thing, bros? Come on.
You gave Keir Starmer some advice when he came into the job. And one of the bits of advice was don't fall prey to wokeism. I mean, what is your definition of wokeism?
Well, it's a good question. But I think people know what you mean by it. Or know what I mean by that.
What do you mean, though?
But
don't fall prey to wokeism. How dare you even say the W word? And Blair's like, you know it when you see it, right? Sadie Sapiente, who the F is she? This is Kirsty Walk, who is looks like an insufferable journalist for BBC. So, I mean, older white woman works for BBC. I think we basically know all we need to know there.
It's making sure that on issues that are culturally really sensitive, you keep to what I think is a pretty sensible middle ground, and you just I've had discussions on the trans issue, which have given rise to headlines I never thought I'd see in terms of biological discussion, but it's just on all of this stuff. The most important thing is that you're where sensible middle ground opinion is. Now, people can debate where that lies and different elements and different issues, but that's my general view. And by the way, I don't give them advice on it. It's just, this is my view as to what is sensible for them.
Yeah, I don't give Starmer advice or anything like that. It's just that immediately after he got into government, I suddenly had a massive media profile and started like counter signaling and sort of like shaping the narrative around Starmer's new government. I wouldn't give him advice. Come on, right? Like, you know, you elected Starmer. You didn't elect me. Toothy grin. Oh my God. It's interesting how cagey he's been. Wyatt's Torch, that was a masterful not answering. Yeah, precisely. I mean, look, man, you got to give it to Blair, right? Like, you know, he is a freaking operator.
The reason is it matters because in the New Statesman, you said left-wing politics has become defined by new-fashioned social and cultural messages around extreme identity and anti-police politics, for which large swathes of people is voter repellent. So how would you deal with the left? Because it's the left you're talking about.
Yeah, you've just got to say to them, I'm sorry, I'm not doing that. Look what's happened. I think...
I'm sorry, we're not doing that. Racist! Oh my God, such racism. Oh my God, you can just hear the shriek. I don't know, Blair is coming across as quite based. Like, look, don't make me like the Dark Lord. Holy crap.
The government's made a great start. They've got a lot of energy, a lot of ideas. I think what these new ministers and new MPs will be feeling for the first time is we can actually do something.
Yeah,
but
Keir Starmer's probably never been or going to be in a stronger position than he is now. So it is now the time to deal with the left.
Well, it's not about dealing with the left. It's just about making sure that you're not going out of the mainstream of sensible British public opinion. Otherwise, you're going to find you are ending up spending your time debating things you don't really want to debate.
I mean, look, he's not wrong, right? One of the big problems, sort of with the rise of woke generally, and this journalist is basically sort of expressing exactly that in this interview. Blair wants to talk about the TBI. The new vision that he has for Britain, and this woman's trying to derail the conversation by saying, "Oh, what even is woke?" And presumably moving on. Do you feel any shame for your comments, and was there anything you'd like to apologise about? All this kind of like other stuff, and Blair masterfully manoeuvres his way around it. Teabagging Therapist, good to see you. Total Blackout Painting, J Chiva Loophole, good to see you guys. Thanks for coming along. I think we have another clip from this. Now, this is very, very interesting. Blair basically admits that the war in Ukraine can't really be won, and the reason that they're fighting is to get a better settlement from Russia. That must be extremely heartening to all the people getting their shit blown up in Ukraine. Oh, dude, war is horrible. My God, listen to this.
But now we are faced with horrific developments in Ukraine just even this week. Is the West on the front foot enough in support of Ukraine?
No, I think we've got to be doing more. Look, in the end, if there's going to be a settlement of the Ukrainian conflict, the only settlement that's going to be acceptable is one in which Russian aggression is not rewarded, and that means the Ukrainians have got to be given the means and have the strength to make sure that whatever agreement ends the conflict is an agreement that's on good terms.
But what do we give them that we're not giving them now?
I think that we are giving them more now, but I think there's a constant battle over the timeline it takes for us to step up, and then I think it doesn't help if there's a constant sense in parts of our alliance as to whether we're really going to be committed or not. Because it's a very simple thing. I've thought right from the very beginning, I wrote this right at the beginning of in 2022, this is not going to end in the way that the First World War or Second World War ended. It will end in an agreement, but we've got a much better chance of getting a good agreement if we're giving Ukraine everything they need.
Ooh, that's pretty goddamn evil, bro. So Blair knows, right? There's no way that the West is going to be able to take over Russia and fulfill the neocon dream of breaking it up into 100 little mini oblasts or something like that. There's going to be a settlement, and in order to get the best settlement, they have to give as many weapons as possible to the Ukrainians. Oh, grim. Right. So we've got more from the Tony Blair Institute. I don't know how that other clip got in there. Must be the browser goblins. Now, as I was saying before, they are all about AI. They're all about AI and digital ID. Have you heard about AI? AI is going to revolutionize the world, bros. It's going to make government much better and safer and quicker and, and less corrupt. Now, to be fair, it may do some of those things, right? It may also make the entire government vulnerable to data leaks and hacks, which is what happened in India, where the Aadhaar system got hacked and released like the personal details of like 1 billion Indians. Like they're real details. So, that's not going back in the jar, right? Like that's like totally done. And they're all about like, oh, AI, it's going to revolutionize government. Oh, God damn it. Check this out.
I'm very excited about using AI for everyday productive tasks. So, amazing digital assistants, and reimagining the workflow. I think over the next 5-10 years, we're going to see incredible gains in productivity, both in the personal domain, but also in the work environment. But then the number one thing I'm most passionate about, and I've always wanted to build AI for, is to accelerate scientific discovery itself. And we've led the way in that, and probably the most famous example of that is our program AlphaFold, which solved the problem of 50-year kind of grand challenge of what's called protein folding, determining the structure, the 3D structure of a protein just from its amino acid sequence, its genetic sequence, which has huge implications in drug discovery and disease understanding. And I think that's just one example of what we're going to see in the next decade of many scientific breakthroughs in areas like energy, material science, mathematics, weather prediction, and climate, all sorts of areas, healthcare, that AI is going to be instrumental in.
Sounds great, bro. Now this is, again, Blair talking about how the only long-term solution for economic growth is, you guessed it, artificial intelligence.
The problem is that we have low growth, low productivity. We've got public services where there are high levels of expenditure and poor outcomes. The two things that get growth and productivity back are first the types of things that Rachel Reeves was talking about yesterday, planning reform, probably a better Brexit deal. These will give you short-term, it should give you a reasonable boost to economic growth. But our belief is that the only long-term solution to growth, productivity, and better public services is the full embrace of this technology revolution, which prior to generative AI was already a revolution. And now I think you've got with generative AI a revolution on top of the revolution existing.
You say in the remarks that have been released that it's a potential game changer, AI. If, you say, we have the imagination to harness it. What do you mean by the imagination to harness it? Take industrial policy first. We assume companies are doing that all over the country, doing it over the world. What do you want government to do?
Well, first of all, there's things government can do that will help the application of AI through the private sector. Things like changing our systems of procurement, deepening the capital base of the country. But more than that, if you take the areas where Britain is potentially strong, like life sciences, clean technology, artificial intelligence itself, after America and China, and this is the good news for the country, Britain's probably in third place for AI globally. We have in DeepMind, and the head of it's coming to our conference this morning.
Now, you notice how he didn't actually answer the question there, right? The question was, well, how exactly is AI going to help? And he's like, oh, well, economic development and, no. Like, we'll figure it out when we do it. Okay.
Possibly one of the best, but even the best AI company in the world. So we've got enormous strengths, but we have to build those strengths. And that's a modern industrial policy. And then you've got the applications of AI that you can drive through the public sector.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait, what's going on here? Okay, for some reason it skipped over. And so, yes, Labor has rejected the call for ID cards for the moment. This is more of Blair talking about basically the same stuff. Let's see if he actually says anything that actually shows what the hell he's talking about.
There is only one game changer In our view, that is harnessing effectively the 21st century technological revolution.
Oh, is that it? Oh, that's very, very tiny. Oh yeah, and this is great. Our approach to fighting crime must evolve in the age of AI. The Met Police's Director of Intelligence, Lindsay Chiswick, reveals how technology such as live facial recognition can revolutionize identifying and capturing offenders. Well, again, it kind of depends on how you define offenders, right? Like, you know, if you're trying to catch people that are doing like actual violence or theft, I wouldn't have as much of a problem with it. But the danger, as always, is that they will expand the definition of criminal to encompass people who say bad words or ideological enemies. And one of the things about the UK is because it's so small, and London particularly is such a large city, you can't really set up checkpoints because the entire city would seize up. But if you had a bunch of facial recognition cameras linked to a centralized database, you could put as many checkpoints as you wanted, bros. And wouldn't you feel so much safer knowing that the government was watching you all the time? Now, this is the really funny thing. So apparently, the claim that Blair is basically using, which is he's basically saying that AI would solve 40%. Wait, where is it? Where's the headline number? Yes, he predicts that more than 40% of tasks performed by public sector workers could be partly automated, saving a fifth of their time in aggregate and potentially leading to a huge reduction in the workforce and cost for government. And, brother, what is the source for what you say? Well, it turns out their source was ChatGPT. Someone at the Tony Blair Institute basically asked ChatGPT, and ChatGPT said that it's going to save all of this time and money. So I mean, I don't know, mate. I don't know. AI says that AI is awesome. AI has investigated itself and found that it's done nothing wrong, bro. So we stand on the cusp of a new era, bros. You feeling excited? Oh, I certainly am. Well, I can't wait. Oh, it's going to be so exciting. You know, when I rock up to the train station and there's a big sign saying facial recognition in use, and they've got like a bunch of like monitors up hooked to the camera, and you can see them like scanning your face, and I'll just be like, oh, the government knows that I exist, bros. I will feel touched by the hand of government, seen by the eye of Sauron. I will finally be seen. I will finally be recognized. Right, anyway, so enough of that bullshit. Right, our last story. The NATO summit, the 75th anniversary. Now, I mean, this is quite interesting. Biden was in fine form. I don't know whether this is Biden number 1 or Biden number 2. The key apparently is to look to the earlobes. Biden number 1 has detached earlobes and Biden number 2 does not. I don't know why they didn't do plastic surgery on the earlobes. But check it out. He's certainly in better spirits for this speech. I'll play you a couple of minutes just to give you a flavor.
Good evening. Welcome. In 1949, the leaders of 12 countries, including President Truman, came together in this very room. History was watching. It had been 4 years since the surrender of the Axis powers and the end of the most devastating war the world had ever known. Here, these 12 leaders gathered to make a sacred pledge to defend each other against aggression, provide their collective security, and to answer threats as one, because they knew to prevent future wars, to protect democracies, to lay the groundwork for lasting peace and prosperity, they needed a new approach. They needed to combine their strengths. They needed an alliance. And here they signed the Washington Treaty and created the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, the single greatest, most effective defensive alliance in the history of the world. Mr. Secretary General, leaders of NATO countries, foreign and defense ministers, representatives from partner nations in the European Union, and members of Congress, distinguished guests, welcome to the 2024 NATO Summit.
Welcome to NATO 2024. We're in the business of peace, but we're always at war for some reason. Funny how that works, bros. This, of course, is the official NATO site. Bros, look at their fancy logo. Secretary General celebrates NATO's 75th anniversary with allied leaders on the eve of the Washington Summit. Dun, 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 dun. You can see the photo there. Oh, don't they look all so smart? And I can't zoom in. That's a bit idiotic. Let's see, what else have we got here? Now, there were a few funny things. Apart from Biden, Trudeau was there. Yes, he was. Do you want to see some NATO cringe, bros? Check this out.
NATO is the strongest military alliance in the world. And to keep it that way, we must continue to step up individually and collectively to strengthen both our alliance and the collective peace it represents and protects. Canada stands with our NATO allies. Canada will always defend the values of democracy, freedom, and the rule of law, as it is more important today than it ever has been.
This guy talking about democracy and the rule of law. Fuck, man. Oh, my God.
My friends, we must be clear-eyed about the current state of global affairs. The long peace after the Second World War is over. We're living in an increasingly dangerous, unstable, and complex world. Cyber warfare, resurgent authoritarian forces, expanding regional conflicts, and everywhere.
Bitch, you are the resurgent authoritarian forces. Oh, my God. We can't be an authoritarian force. We're a Western democracy. Everything we do is democratic by definition. Oh, come on. Blah.
Increasing impacts of climate change all represent growing threats to our collective security and our continued prosperity. This is the sobering reality we must all face. That's why Canada will continue to work closely with like-minded allies to tackle these challenges directly, to build a better world for all. We will grow our global partnerships, and we will always do what is needed to forge a stronger, more united NATO and to keep us all safe.
Oh, my God. Oh, I hate listening to this guy so much. Now, interestingly enough, he can't even stay on message with his own party. Now, what do you think Trudeau thinks is the most pressing issue facing the world at the moment? Let's have a listen, shall we?
Canada and NATO have long recognized an indisputable fact. Climate change is not only an existential environmental threat, but one of the defining security issues of our time.
Yes, it's climate change, bros. Climate change. It's coming over the corner. The Russians are probably behind it. Disinformation. Of course, Chrystia Freeland, his sort of force goblin, as it were, has a different view.
I think we all recognize that the greatest threat posed today to global security, to NATO, to democracy, is the illegal Russian invasion of Ukraine.
Canada and NATO have long...
So which is it, Mr. Castro Jr.? Is it Russia? Or is it climate change? Or is it the Russians pushing climate change? Is it Russian climate change? Are the Russians causing the earth to heat up and the seas to rise? Is that misinformation? Only time will tell, bros. Only time will tell. Now, the NATO conference came on the backdrop of the bombing of a children's hospital in Kiev, in Ukraine. There was some question about whether this was in fact a Russian or Ukrainian missile. You can see the missile there in slow-mo. It was actually caught on camera. However, whether it was a Russian Kinzhal or a American anti-aircraft sort of like missile intercept missile. You know what I mean. You know the thing, right? Is I don't know. I don't know enough about military stuff to tell, but it's most definitely being disputed. You can see here some of the people saying this is most definitely an American-launched, anti-missile missile, and then there's other people basically saying, nah, it's most definitely a Kinjal or something like that. I don't really know, bros. There is the sort of, there are also questions or suggestions, probably Russian propaganda, obviously, that the Ukrainians may have done this deliberately the day before the NATO conference in order to make sure they get more money. Now, it's important to sort of understand that the entire Ukrainian economy at this point is surviving on gibs. They're not making anything. They don't really have an economy. Their entire economy is from Western handouts. So there's this piece of footage. Some people are alleging that this blood is fake. Here is the man in question later. As you can see, that looks more like red paint. Like really, really seriously, right? Blood does not dry like that. So, I'm sussy. We have some other general news as well. NATO has basically said that they are preparing to mobilize 500,000 troops. I don't know exactly how the hell they're going to do that, but they're doing it. Poland is saying that they're going to assemble a volunteer legion to operate in Ukraine, and that Poland will now shoot down Russian missiles over Ukrainian territory. So that's another step towards sort of, actual full-fledged war. Poland has said it must prepare the army for a full-scale conflict. The US is now sending F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine. Apparently, the pilots have now been trained. It's taken a while. Russia, of course, has basically said, no, we're going to blow them out of the sky. We don't care where they're flying them from. So if you station them in a third country and you use them to bomb Ukraine, we're going to take them out with missiles, which, of course, is another path to triggering something like Article 5, which sucks ass, obviously. Now, Starmer went and met with Zelensky shortly after being elected, of course. And then Zelensky came out and did his sort of like usual trick. This is a well-known political trick where you sort of announce something that was said to you in confidence and then sort of like force the other side to acknowledge that they said it. So apparently, Starmer said that Storm Shadow missiles that were given to Ukraine can now be used to hit Russia. So they can be like fired inside of Russia. And this was basically leaked by Zelensky, who said on Twitter this morning, I learnt about the permission to use Storm Shadow missiles against military targets in Russian territory. Today, we had the opportunity to discuss the practical implementation of this decision. The Glowies were not happy with this, obviously. They're all like, God, keep it under your hat, bros. And there's a new NATO command that's coming out. There is a sort of general move to Trump-proof the Ukraine war, lest Trump come in and try and, do an actual outbreak of peace, which of course would be horrible. Who wants peace with Putla? And so basically they're transferring a lot of the money and the logistics to European countries so that when Trump gets in, the European countries will be able to say like, oh no, well, it's nothing to do with us, bros. And given the fact that the French government has now pivoted to the left and the UK government has now pivoted towards globalism, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what happens. Of course, in the French hard lefties, people like Mélenchon, against the Ukraine war. So are the rights, the sort of right-wing party, Rassemblement National. That's fun to say. But of course, Macron and the centrist party for the Ukraine war. Now, as far as like France is going, by the way, The reason I haven't covered it yet is because we still don't really know what the hell is happening. They haven't formed a new government. There hasn't been an announcement on who's going to be the new prime minister. I suspect at the moment there's furious negotiating going on to make sure that neither the far left under Mélenchon, the National Popular Front, I think they're called, get to form a government, and equally that Le Pen's party, Rassemblement National, also don't get to form a party. Although exactly how this is supposed to happen, with the Centre Party only having like 120 seats and they need like, I think 120, 150 more to form a majority, nobody knows exactly how that is going to work. Anyway, that's the end of the news, bros. I hope you enjoyed all of that. Again, not much happening so far this week, but that's okay because it's time for the cringe. You know you love it, bros. Oh, and also, I should have said earlier, if you would like to support the channel, please donate on Entropy. You can find the linky pinned in any of the chats. Also, Odyssey bros, if you are watching, if you could perhaps send me some Odyssey coins, that would be great. Each episode I publish on Odyssey costs an Odyssey coin. And so if you guys could, send me some, that would be very, very much appreciated as well. Let's just quickly check Entropy. Right, there's nothing on Entropy at the moment. So let's get on to the cringe. I am cringe, but I am free. Right. What have we got to start with? Oh, this is just... What the fuck? I've got to say that trans Islam is one of the weirdest things I have ever seen. I don't know. All of my people I know who are Islamic would just be like, nah, this is totally not happening.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إذا الشمس كورت وإذا النجوم بسم الله.
I'm going to go out on a limb, mate, and say that I don't think the mosque will let you in. I mean, which door are you going to go through, right? Are you going to go through the male door or the female door? You know mosques are segregated by sex, right? I mean, I just... Hayes Review, satire? I don't know. Is it satire? I can't tell anymore. The clown world has become so incredibly serious and infectious that I don't even know what's real anymore. This, I think, is legit a bit of trans mental illness for you. I mean, come on, check it out.
Here's 5 signs you might be gender fluid. At least they were for me. Number 1, you have tried to be trans. But there are some days that you just aren't. And you know you're not cis. Number 2, if you've ever tracked your gender fluctuations to try to get sense of this whole thing, tracking your gender, clears everything up. Number 3, you taught yourself to tuck or pack or tried on some fake boobs and it felt so right that you cried so much that you didn't want to take them off, but then the next day, they didn't feel like anything at all. Number 4, you have come out at least 3 times as 3 different things. I'm bisexual. No, I'm pansexual. No, I'm trans. No, I'm gender fluid. No, I'm a gender fluid trans woman. No, I'm... And number 5, let's really drive this home. If you want to start HRT and transition, but you're more scared about losing something than you are about regretting the change, you're probably not going to regret anything, and you're probably gender fluid. Here's 5.
You might possibly also be mentally ill. I mean, I'm just saying, bro, there's something about this monologue, Fox39 forever, when I put Newsfist into the YouTube search, it was nowhere to be seen. Yes, I have the worst search engine optimization possibly on the entire internet, Fox. You've got to search for Habbening TV. I think that might bring it up. It's the best way to find me, Fox, is to go to newsfist.net and just click the linky in through there. That's basically the way I managed to get around it. Yes, also small channel. I really should have a more fancy name, but I can't think of one, and I'm kind of stuck with this one now. So you can easily find me on Rumble. Though I totally come up on Rumble and Odyssey, right? But not Google or YouTube, and definitely not because of bad SEO. Nah, YouTube be suppressing me. Actually, they totally might be for all I know. I don't really care. Now this is I'd only really seen sort of this kind of like black church stuff. Total blackout painting. Newsfist, I think I have you beat in SEO shit metric. That's great. We should do a crap SEO contest, TBP. Who has the actually? Yeah, I can see you having really bad SEO as well. So yes, but yes, the link is in there. It's at news_fist. But again, you've got to finagle it, and most people don't know how. It's fine. I'm an exclusive club, right? I don't want to be big and popular like those large channels. I'm not doing it for the fame. I mean, the money would be nice, obviously, but it's right. So yes, I only ever saw this kind of like black church stuff on Boondocks. Boondocks taught me so much about American black culture. So I was quite surprised to see that this is like actually like a real thing. Check this craziness out.
There was a man in the Bible by the name of Joseph, who was the favorite of his father Jacob. And he clothed his son in a cloak of many colors, but because of jealousy. And that's what's going on, Mr. President. People are jealous of you. Jealous of your stick-to-itiveness, jealous of your favor, jealous of God's hand upon your life. You've been through trouble before. You've lost a wife, you've lost children, but God has never left you alone. Joseph was thrown in the pit by his own brethren. But won't you ever count Joseph out? Even when Joseph is in the pit, don't count him out. Touch somebody and say, don't count Joseph out. They took Joseph out of the pit, sold him into bondage in Egypt, sold him to Potiphar's house, where he was falsely accused. He went to jail, but God didn't forget about him in jail. God gave him an interpretation for the Pharaoh's dream. You have a dream. I have a dream. The president has a dream of keeping America safe for 4 more years. A dream of keeping democracy safe. A dream of giving us prosperity. A dream of keeping us at peace. A dream of reducing hatred, racism, sexism, and bigotry. If Joseph could get out of the pit, if Jesus could get out of the pit, President Biden is coming back. He's a comeback kid. He's a fighter.
President Biden is coming back, y'all. He's coming back. It'll be the second coming of President Biden. Fucking hell, man.
He's a champion. He's a winner. Hallelujah. Come on, help me give God some praise, somebody. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Let us pray. Father, we pray for our president. Bishop, you commanded us to pray for them in authority. Our president gets discouraged. But today, through your Holy Spirit, renew his mind, renew his spirit, renew his body. He's the man we need.
Black Church praying for Biden. Also, we have from Wibble, 5 Odyssey coins. Thank you very much, Wibble. I really appreciate it. That's 5 episodes worth of content I can back. Much appreciated, sir. Thank you very much. Right, so Black Church. What else we got? I think this is... Did you know weight gain is caused by racism, bros? Terrible, terrible.
You can't get access to good health care, good insurance. The research says that black women, when we do the same diets as white women, we lose less weight and we lose it slower, even when we're following the diet, than our white women counterparts. And what public health practitioners think is that our stress responses in the body change our metabolism. It's literally that The racism that you're experiencing and the struggle to make ends meet actually means the diet don't work for you the same.
That's why I'm fat. It ain't seed oils and, you know, high fructose corn syrup. No, it's racisms, bro. It's racisms. Livia Drusilla, I thought it was climate change. Yes, it was. Well, the climate change is also caused by the racism. Now, this is particularly, I don't know, creepy. So the World Jewish Congress has gotten together and has basically stated that they need to pressure every single country worldwide to impose harsh anti-speech laws in order to curb anti-Semitism. This is not a good development.
All world leaders, all politicians must lead in this effort. Words are not enough. Political speeches are not enough. Laws must be passed, severe, tough, real laws that will put these hate mongers away in prison for a long time. All world leaders.
I mean, I don't know. That sounds very, very creepy. What about the US Constitution, bros? This is Keir Starmer doing something. I'm not exactly sure. His reviews, does anti-Semitism cause weight gain too? Quite probably. Actually, look, if someone gave me, I don't know, about $5 million, I could most definitely think about starting a committee to examine the feasibility of looking into that question. Should only take me about like 5 years, maybe 10 at $5 million a year. Look, it's honestly, it'd be cheap for double the price.
Telegram has been described as the app of choice for extremists. If you can believe it, if the House can believe it, as we were paying tribute to Sir David on Monday, Telegram users could access videos of murders and violent threats against politicians, the LGBT community, women and Jews, as we were paying our respects. Some of these posts are illegal, all of them are harmful, and Hope Not Hate and the Board of Deputies have said that Telegram has, in their words, facilitated and nurtured a subculture that cheerleads for terrorists. Tough sanctions are clearly needed.
So this is not a new clip, by the way. This is from 2022. But I don't see that there is any reason for Starmer to have changed his mind. In fact, if it weren't for the fact that they can't really get to Telegram, I'm sure they would have tried to ban it by now. I wonder if they're going to institute ISP blocking. Now would be a good time to get a VPN, I imagine, bros. This is just stupid. I don't know where this is from, but enjoy. I don't know what the fuck that is, but it's bloody funny, man. Now, this is Skyrim video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. If you enjoy this, CJ Mattis. Wait, let me just post the link in the chat for you all. I don't want to rip off other people's content, especially when they put a lot of effort into it. But oh my god, this is really funny. Skyrim, of course, one of the most iconic intros in all of video gaming. Check this out.
Hey, you're finally woke. You were trying to hop the border, right? Gridded right into that Simperial Mog, same as us. And that beta over there.
Phantom, you stormcucks. Skibidi was fine until you rizzed along. Simpire was chill AF. If you weren't Malding, I could have copped that whip and been halfway to Gunnerfell. You there. You and me. We shouldn't be here for real on gods. It's these storm cucks the Simpire wants.
We're all gooners and stepsisters and binds now, Rizzler.
Quit yapping back there.
And what's got bro down?
Check your vibes. You're yapping at Ulfric Stormcuck, the true Short King.
Ulfric? The Sigma of Windhelm? You're the leader of the Rizbellion, but if they've copped you, on gods, where...
The Rizbellion! mate, if I ever start something, that's what we're gonna call it, the Rizbellion bros.
Are they thug shaking us?
I don't know. But Kai Cenat awaits.
No, this is Cap. This must be Cap.
Hey, what goon cave are you from, Beta?
Why are you doxing me, Chud?
A Rizzler's last thoughts should be of Ohio.
Redditstead. I'm from Redditstead.
General Tullius, sir. The throat goat is waiting.
Based. Let's get this ratioed.
Okay, that's enough. Check this out if you want to see the rest. I don't want to like rip off someone else's like, you know, awesome work. But this, man, I love that video so much. CJ Mattis, everyone, check it out. All right, we've got a couple more funny videos before we move on to the cute animals. It looks like there's going to be a crossbow ban happening in the UK any day now. And with videos like this going around the internet, is it any wonder, bros?
We're out here with a homemade crossbow. Show them how it works, bud.
I can hear them in the trees.
Get them, son.
They're all out there.
In the fucking neighborhood.
They're in the neighborhood. I see one. They sabotaged our...
They sabotaged our crossbow. Oh, dude. This is just stupid.
4 years. He exists now, only in my memory.
Hey, I was raiding on Destiny, okay? You know. This is from Sede Sapiente. Jordan B. Peterson. I didn't know the B stood for black. He be in the hood, bros.
It's like, listen, bro, I dunk on all your asses. It's like, see what's up? Y'all finna cash me outside. Y'all don't wanna see me snatch a body. I'm a meat eater. You're gonna take the asphalt challenge. I'm gonna eat your body after. Frontin' up. Here, I'm gonna pour one out for the homies, you know? Listen, you ratchet, no lacking, bussin', flockin', brazy on God. Church, we was kings. No Diddy. What you brackin'? I got Liddy, yo. Hype my new Air Jordan Petersons. Y'all not ready for this. Y'all don't know what you're messing with. Step up. They call me the hole puncher back at home. Mess around and find out, bucko.
Mess around and find out, bucko. Oh, poor Jordan. I don't know what's happened to him. He seems to have like legit lost his mind recently. Follow his Twitter feed. It's crazy. Right. I really, really like these videos. This guy's like basically trained his cat to play like Cards Against Humanity. Pretty awesome.
What makes grandma feel young again? Which one are you thinking? Okay. Racial profiling. No, well, in February.
What's this? Right. Okay. So we're on to the animal videos. Let me just check. Oh, there's nothing on Entropy at all, bros. Let me see. Is there? No, there's nothing on Entropy. That's cool, bros. Let's see. Let's get back to the funny videos. Right. Remember, your chances of dying from a cow may be low, but are never precisely 0, bros.
Shh. Hello. It's okay.
Right, cute animal videos. This is weird, but also cute. Thank you to Sede Sapiente, official cute animal correspondent. That's so cute. I mean, is that... I don't know. Is that normal for a dog? Right. Some kitties for you now. Oh, this is just cute. Horses in the Lupins. And I didn't know they made horses this small, but you know. Oh, it's so tiny, bros. And our final cute animal video of the night. Kittens on a beach. And that's the end of the show, everyone. Thank you so much for coming. I will be on Empire of Lies at 11 p.m. in about an hour and a half from now. I hope to see you all there. Tonight, the Fabians versus the Tony Blair Institute. Yeah, it's been all up in my brain at the moment, so I've got to get it out of my system. I hope you can come along and you will enjoy. Let's say goodbye to the people in the chat. On Rumble, Fox39 Forever, Livia Drusilla, Hayes Reviews, Sadie Sapiente, Captain Crisps, J Chiva Loophole, Total Blackout Painting. Did I say Fox39 Forever? Oh, you get two if I did. Good to see you, Fox. I know Yiz was in there somewhere. Total Blackout Painting. Gang's all here, bros. It's lovely to see you all. On Odyssey, we had Camille the Wicked. Wibble, thanks for the Odyssey coins, mate. Very much appreciated. Tasia. Machine for Baked Beans. I think that's everybody. And on YouTube, we have Streaky Bacon, Victorian Time Traveller, Timmy Bobinson. Is that everyone? Anti-Whiteism Ends With You. Good to see you, sir. Total Blackout Painting, double fisting it there. Fox as well. I think that's everyone. Thank you so much for coming, bros. I will see you either on Monday or at Empire of Lies tonight. Have an excellent weekend, bros. Good night.